Pathmonk is the AI for website conversions. With increasing online competition, over 98% of website visitors don't convert. The ability to successfully show your value proposition and support visitors in the buying journey separates you from the competition online. Pathmonk qualifies and converts leads on your website by figuring out where they are in the buying journey and influencing them in key decision moments with relevant micro experiences like case studies, intro videos, and much more. Stay relevant to your visitors and increase conversions by 50% by adding Pathmonk to your website in seconds, by letting the AI do all the work and increase conversions while you keep doing marketing as usual. Check us out on pathmonk.com. Hey everybody, welcome to today's episode of Pathmonk Presents. Today we're joined by Chris. He's the VP of Security and Growth at Advantage Technology. Chris, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. It's good to be here.
Good to be here, Chris. I agree, and people don't know this, but it's been a long time coming. So I'm glad to have you, and I'm finally glad to do this. Chris, why don't we start with the basics, and maybe we talk about Advantage Technology, and also, what's the big idea behind it? And if you were explaining what you do to a friend over coffee, let's say, how would you describe what the company is about and what you do?
Sure. So yeah, I'm the, as you said, Vice President of Security and Growth. I've been here over a decade. And Advantage Tech is an interesting thing to explain. We don't quite fit the mold, which is good. I think, I was just explaining this to somebody last night at an event. So we are what you would refer to as a managed security services company, right? And you hear about MSPs, managed service providers. We're a managed security services provider. So there's another S in there. So as an MSSP, we have some very different capabilities. We're positioned very differently than a managed service provider in general. We are security and technology solution engineers, is what I like to tell people. We focus on cybersecurity first. We think that's the most important thing there is right now in your in your daily digital life and the digital landscape. But the ability to do that well means that we have to also provide other services, right? So IT and security are basically two separate missions. And a lot of people don't realize that, and we service both, right? That's why I say we're solution engineers. So we're providing high-level solutions for security and for technology problems. We also do the services of a traditional MSP, the managed service provider. We usually pick those up secondarily after we're already doing security work. I think what sets us apart, you have a lot of companies out there that are MSPs or calling themselves MSSPs, and their model's different, right? They use level 1 and level 2 engineers. They use a lot of young people, which there's nothing wrong with. They use a lot of the cheaper talent. We're a business of 30-year security engineers and tech engineers and network engineers, right? Now we have those younger folks as well. But if you look at the company, it's run by principal engineers. And that's what we are. We're not business people just trying to run a technology company. We're actually security engineers and technical engineers that are running this company. And then our customer base goes from the largest customers are big healthcare systems, 15, 20,000 employees, 40 locations, $1 billion a year in revenue. And then we also go down to help the smallest. We have a law firm that has 3 people that does very sensitive work for government. That also has big security concerns. So I think to wrap it all up, I would say our customer base is very broad, but they all have one thing in common. They have serious compliance and security issues that they're concerned about, and we can help deliver those outcomes in that area so they can continue to operate safely and securely.
That's amazing. Thanks for the intro, by the way, and it's really interesting, I'm sure, also for our audience. It sounds, like you have a roster of really experienced engineers that they know what they're doing. And yeah, I'm sure that also translates in the quality of your work and the support that you give to your clients. You touched on that for a second just now, right? So the types of businesses you work with. Are there any industries or verticals where you feel your services really shine at the moment, or is it more, maybe a specific type of business and a key problem that you help them solve, do you think, or how does that work for you guys?
That's a great question. So we can work for any vertical, right? And we do. We work in every vertical you can imagine because everybody uses tech. But if you think about a few things, like so as I look at it right now, what are the newest clients that we see being added, right? What does that outreach look like? Department of Defense contractors, so private businesses that work for the DoD because they have all these new CMMC certifications they have to meet, things like that. really anybody like that with security compliance concerns, right? Defense contractors, hospitals for HIPAA, banks because of all the federal banking regulations, law firms actually are one of our biggest markets because most people don't realize, but the FBI calls them the soft underbelly of cybercrime, right? Because
Mhm.
law firms, guess what law firms have? Medical data, business data, trade secret data, patent data. They handle all the data. And so they've become a huge client for us, very important because they have many things that can affect the security of the businesses and the governments they work for. And I think that's where we're seeing the most growth is people that thought they traditionally didn't need cybersecurity. Why would we need security? We're not a tech business. Those are the people that are sitting on all this really sensitive data. And what we found out is the threat actors don't really care what you do now. You're just a bank account to them. This is just a financial crime carried out over the internet. And so if you have a bank account and they can extort you, they're coming after you. But for years, our biggest three have been healthcare, legal, and finance. And then defense contractors, obviously, were in that space. But we're starting to see now just, I mean, it doesn't matter what you do, they're coming after you.
Yeah, that's a good point, and especially the one you made. If you have a bank account, we don't care who you are, what you do, we're coming for you, right? So they need people like you to help them with their security, I'm sure. And I'm curious, within these companies, who's actually reaching out to you? How do people discover you in that sense? And maybe on the growth side of things, if you can touch
Yeah.
on the channels that have become your go-to, let's say, for
Yeah.
bringing in more of those people, right?
So my title is interesting. I love the growth side too. People don't understand it. I get asked all the time, what does it mean to be vice president of security and growth? And you have to back up. If you look at what is the fastest growing thing in tech right now, cybersecurity, obviously, right? So it kind of makes sense. And what I understand is we can't grow a company effectively, right, at all, without securing it. I mean, if it's not secure and somebody steals all your data, you have no company,
Yeah.
right? So that's the thing where we've really started to look at how we balance this. Believe it or not, the people I talk to the most every day are CEOs and CFOs and COOs, right? It's funny a lot of times. So many organizations still don't have like a chief information officer or a chief security officer, chief technology officer. So that
Mm.
stuff rolls up to who? Typically the CFO. I know it's weird, but the CFO typically, if you don't have that role, is over top of technology and they report up. So they don't typically have a lot of IT and security knowledge, right? And so what we've seen lately is a lot of ours come from two ways, right? So first of all, referrals are still king in some ways, right? The why. So we love those cold leads, but we love referrals because they already at least are reaching out to us based off somebody else's recommendation. So they think somewhat highly of us or they wouldn't have called. Right. So we still do see some of that. We really push a lot for that organic referral, handshaking, networking events, make friends with people. They're going to bring you their friends. But that can only go so far, right? You need that digital reach. So what we try to do in that digital reach is do the things that we would do in person, is be able to present to them our story. We know people love stories, right? Where we used to sit around campfires. I'm fortunate that not only am I a cybersecurity engineer, but I also have a graduate degree from Cornell in market analysis and marketing, right? So we
Mhm.
can do all the great security things all day, but if we can't sell them, we can't run a business. I went and got that degree about 8 years ago because we were starting this security practice here and somebody needed to go out and sell it. Well, who better to bring in customers than the engineer that's done it for, at that time, 20 years, but didn't know how to market anything. So we really did a twofold thing. Over the last 8 years, our web presence has morphed and developed unbelievably. At the same time, we've morphed and developed how we've presented who we are. We can't just talk about technical ones and zeros all day because who'd you hear I mostly talk to? CEOs and CFOs and COOs. Do they know anything about this? No. So they don't care about the ones and zeros. What we've had to do is start to show them that their growth can be hindered or escalated based off how they understand their risk posture. So we flipped the
Mm.
conversation to have most of our web presences, our blogs, and our everything talk about what they understand. The IT person is going to understand the risk to emotets and to advanced ransomware and to ransomware gangs and extortion and all this. The CEO is not. What does the CEO understand? Risk. If we get a bunch of money taken, we go out of business. So what we did is we worked with some companies to completely redevelop our web presences, right? To say we were marketing to the tech person, Well, the tech person rarely gets on our websites because they know what we do and they understand that we had to start marketing to the people that sign the checks and sign off on projects, just to be clear. And the way you market to them is not with marketing. We had to start educating them. Once we educate, we
Mm.
need educated buyers. We all need educated buyers. And if that buyer is not the person that understands your product, then you better teach them. And so that's what we did is we put ourselves to school on how to educate better. And if you look at our websites, they're an education tool. They teach you in common language what we do, not in a bunch of acronyms, not in crazy wild speak. How we pulled that off is we brought in people that know the things we don't know, right? We're engineers and architects and technical architects, and we're not branding people. But what we ask those people to do is come talk to all of our people and ask them their story. Why are you here? What do you do this for? How did you get here? What is Advantage's mission? And what we found out was everybody here's on the same mission. And that's what we tell now in the websites and the stories. What's our mission? We can all do tech. Why do we do it? We do it because we're a place that's poor. It's hard to be from. It's in Southern West Virginia. It's going backwards. And so we prop up that economy by providing hundreds of jobs in a place that's poor and destitute. If you come down to the fact and you want to look at two companies and you hear our mission and we do the same work as this person whose mission is to make more money, you're going to use us, right? We have found out that you have to tell your story at a deeper level. And that was
Mm.
hard for us to learn because we do tech. But once people found out the why we do it every day, then it changed everything for us. And that's it. If you look at our websites and stuff, it's storytelling, right? We're telling the story of who we are.
That's that's so good because typically you will find people that, with the tech background that are really knowledgeable but don't have the skills and the soft skills, if you will, to actually sell that. And the other way around is true also, right? You get a great marketer or a salesperson that maybe, not that well versed in the technology side of things, so they
Right.
really can't explain it, right? So I love that you went and got that degree out of necessity in a way, and that you were able to combine both worlds, right? Also that you touched on the website and the way, the storytelling works. I'm curious, how much of a role does your website play in all of this and getting bringing in new business at this point in the duration of Advantage Tech?
Yeah, it plays a much bigger part than I would have believed it ever would for a business of our nature. And we've seen that drastic increase. I mean, you're talking about a business that 10 years ago did, I don't know, $3 million a year, we'll say. This year will
Hmm.
do over 40 million, right? And you can't do that without driving people to you, without somehow pulling them in, I should say, right? People say we're driving people to the business. It's well, we're actually pulling them in. So a big part of that for us was looking at that. What does our web presence look like, right? What is that? That is, I tell people this all the time in security, and I've talked to it more about marketing lately. In security, you have two locations. You have your physical business and you have your website. And your website's what most people are going to see as your business location, right? They're not going to see your physical
Right.
building. And so we put a lot more emphasis on that. And what we really did is stepped out and found marketing and PR and branding companies that know it better than we do. One thing in Advantage we tell our clients and we do well, we pay people that do the things we don't know how to do well, right? We're an IT and security company. Why would I run a big marketing department? So I'm going to tell you a little secret of the sauce. We did run marketing inside for years. We had a person and we ran it with a person and we did that up until about 2 years ago and we did okay. And what we
Hmm.
realize is, man, we don't know how to hire a marketing man or woman. We're not like I have a degree in it, but that's nothing compared. Please don't think I'm an actual marketing professional. Like this was a 2 year figure this out of necessity, right? We were building a business and couldn't pay anybody to do it.
Right.
Um, but what we figured out is by bringing in those professionals that know what they're doing, you're going to save time, money, and get better results. Right. So with these professionals, again, I'll back up to what I said earlier. The first thing they asked us wasn't, what do you do? That's how I knew they were good. They weren't, it wasn't, how do you fix this computer? The first thing they said is, why do you do this? And then they asked my people, why do you do this? Why do you do this? Why do you do this? I've been here over a decade. Richie started it 24 years ago, a spare bedroom of his house. I'm sure there's a reason why he does this. By us doing that and putting professionals in the seat, and then professionals that we worked with to say, okay, create our blogs and then send them back to us so we can fact check them, right? Help us do that. We're not technical,
Hmm.
we're not writers. Having people that understood AI, that understood SEO, that understood how to get the message in front of our customers. We can have a great message, but if we can't deliver it to anybody's computer screen, then what are we doing? Nothing. right? So what we've seen now is a drastic increase in uh, lead generation coming the other way, just incoming leads through the website constantly. Why? They knew who to target that we weren't even thinking of. We used to do this stuff internally, and who are we sending it to? IT directors,
Hmm.
CTOs, right? IT managers. Well, who's our leads coming in from now? COOs, CEOs, like not the same people. And so they helped us frame here. You know what they really did? A good company like that will help you frame who your market is. Who's your buyer? We didn't know our buyer persona very well. We knew the companies we were going after. So we knew the market size, like 200-person healthcare, 10 locations, perfect for us. But what we didn't really understand well for years was, well, who's that buyer inside of there that we actually need to get to? So ours is a
Right.
duality, a lot of roles. I have to be able to explain it to the technical men and women at a very high level, like at a very deep level, actually. So they understand it and grasp it and say, this is going to work for us. And if I get them on board, that's great. I have to get them on board, but that's only one step. Now I've got to go say, hey, Mrs. CFO and Mrs. CEO, this thing costs $210,000 a year. And if I explain it to them like I explained it to Bobby, the IT guy, they're lost. So I've got to have a whole different presentation for both people, if that makes sense, right? Here I have to
Hmm.
educate and handhold you. That's what your website should be for, right? That our website is a plethora of education, right? Just giving out free education because the better educated they are, the better they are in the conversations with us to get to the point we need to actually fix the problems. Does that make sense to answer your question, how we're doing that?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, that it gives also a good understanding of, how you think about it more than, how you do things. Um, but as we're going into the back half of our recording here, Chris, I wanted to also ask you if you'd be willing to go into more of a rapid fire kind of style of questions to talk about you as we switch gears a little bit,
Yeah.
and and a couple other things that really I would like to keep it as a surprise. Nothing crazy really, but it's just more about your habits, what you like to do.
Yeah. I'm
Is that
game.
okay with you?
Sure.
All right, sweet. So, when it comes to your role, right? What's the main things, and maybe let's pick the top three, right? What's the main three things that you focus on a day to day when you go to work?
Number one, number one, always is the security of ourselves and our clients. No question. That's the first thing I scan for when I wake up. That's the first thing I look for. That's my median, right? Like every nothing else matters. Is there anything on my radar that means that the security of us or our clients could be affected? Number one. Number two, is there anything that is affecting client satisfaction at that current moment? Those people are our bosses. Our president will tell you that. I'm a vice president here. I'll tell you that. They sign our checks, they pay our bills. Is the client satisfied? Number three, if any of those two things have failed, if a client is a security issue, if somebody's not satisfied, number three is to go fix number one and number two, right? Like that's it. That's and my role has morphed and changed. I don't have to be hands on keyboards fighting off threat actors every day.
Yeah.
My role is to make sure that a lot of what I've done is morphed into making sure that the clients are okay with spending the amounts of money they do because of what we do. And then I would guess honestly that number one and number two, number three is being there for my guys, for my team, my men and women, right? They have a hard job. It's very stressful. I've done it for 30 years as well. Now I can sit up here and I'm here at any time. If our security director, he's one of my close friends, he's a Navy guy like me, military engineer, that phone is always on for him. It's always on for any of them. So
Mhm.
that's my three focuses is security first. I have to. I run all our security here. For and I tell customers, they're like, shouldn't you be customer centric first? I'm like, that is me being customer centric by keeping your butt safe. Like that's what you want me doing first, not holding your hand. So that's
Yeah.
the three things I really focus on day to day.
And focusing on your team too, right? That's I love to hear
Oh,
that.
the
So,
team, man, is I can't do this without a team. You know what I mean? My largest
yeah.
security contract's almost $1 million a year for a 19,000 person healthcare system that does $1 billion in revenue. We're securing
Mhm.
that, not that hospital. We're securing the employees, the patients, the families of the patients, the surgery centers, right? We're making sure people don't die. And that is my overarching focus over everything at all times. I know that our life and security is serious enough that if we fail, people will die. And I take that very seriously every moment of my
That's a fair
life.
point. Yeah. No, that's a good mentality to have 100%. Um, Maybe related, maybe not, but if you had a magic wand and can fix one frustrating thing in your, in your life with tech, in your life in security, marketing, what have you, what would it be?
Misinformation.
Hmm.
Just misinformation in general. It starts in tech and it leaks out, but people don't have any idea what they're talking about a lot of times, and they'll talk about it like they're very, very proud. They know, I know. And then you're sitting there going, "Man, I've done this 30 years. You don't know anything." Like, you know what the internet told you, and that doesn't make you an idiot. That just makes you fall into the propaganda. What I need people to understand though is what they're reading out there and stuff isn't real, right? Like, and we fight it every day. We fight it every day. It's like I just need them to. That's what I would fix, right? Is the misinformation, the not understanding, the people screaming about AI data centers every time you turn around, except they're using them all day long and swear they're not. You know what I mean? Like, come on, people. You can't scream about an AI data center when you're on Facebook all day and Twitter and Insta and your work programs and Microsoft and Google. Everything's AI, but they're all using it. And then they're screaming, I don't use AI. I don't want it in my backyard. Man, it's the oldest argument of rich versus poor that ever existed, just with a different label. That's what I would fix. The misinformation in general, not just in tech, in the world, funneled through the internet specifically, is maddening to me.
Okay, that's a good one. I think it's a first actually on this podcast, misinformation. So thanks for that. I think it's a really good point. Um, Chris, I want to thank you a lot for being on the show with us today. I also want to give you the last word as we wrap things up. If someone forgets everything about the interview today, what is the one thing that they should remember about the work you guys are doing at Managed Technology?
It's a little bit of a duality, but the same point. Every single business today needs a cybersecurity posture. All of you. You're all under attack because you have a bank account. That's one. Two, it doesn't cost what you think it will. It used to cost a fortune. It used to be very unattainable, except for large, mid enterprise and up. It's very attainable now for even a person with 5 people. Um, have the conversation, ask questions, find somebody you trust. Doesn't have to be me. You probably don't even know me yet, but find somebody you do know and ask those questions. Cybersecurity is the one thing that can shut your business down forever, and there's nothing you can do about it. The only differentiator is if you prepare ahead, then won't happen. If you can't go back and prepare later when they take everything and lock you out and shut you down for eternity. So just remember that it is for everybody, and it's not as expensive as you thought.
Okay, that's amazing. And luckily we have people like yourself and your team and companies like yours that, are actually taking care of that. Chris, if someone wants to check you guys out and, maybe they have some cybersecurity needs, where can they go? Where can they find you?
So 2 spots. First, advantage.tech, just advantage.tech. That's our website. We made it super easy for you. My email is cmay@advantage.tech. And then find me on LinkedIn. I got about 13,000 followers. Somehow I got popular. I don't know. I guess they like nerds. And it's just Chris May. It's just, you can go LinkedIn / Chris May Cybersec, or you can just search Chris May. Those are the 3 best ways to find us. We've got blogs, we've got write ups. We're always happy to talk.
Too easy, too easy. Chris, again, appreciate you, appreciate your insights and your knowledge. Maybe we do this again in 2026, who knows? But
Sounds
in the
great.
meantime, I wish you a wonderful day, Chris. Thank you so much.
Thanks, bud.
All right. Bye, everyone.